What's going on, everybody? So I want to do a review on the 10-inch dual speed compound miter saw by WEN. The model number is 70730. This particular miter saw bevels 0 to 45 degrees to the left, and the miter angles are 0 to 45 degrees, both left and right. I think it works really well. It's a sliding miter saw, sliding compound miter saw. The neat feature about this one that I'm not used to, at least, it has two speeds. Speed number 2 is going to be your highest speed, which is 4,500 RPM, and your speed number 1, just by pressing that button, takes it down to 2,000 RPMs. That particular feature is meant for more like cutting through nails, boards with nails and stuff in them. Another feature I like about it is that it has a tension feature here, which you have to press down on the board, pull it out, and rotate and raise it up. Also, when you go to press into a board, there's a black lever right here that you'll need to push over to bring this down. If you don't press that button, you can line your blade up with whatever material you're cutting and then cut it. So you hold that down, you can let go of that if you want to, press the button, it'll take off. I currently have that set on speed number 1, which is 2,000 RPMs. This is speed number 2. This is speed number 1. Here's another neat feature. If you let go of the power button, this button here, the trigger, if you let go of it partway through a cut, it'll slow itself down and then it'll re-trigger slowly. It also has a little screw back here, which most of them do. Just unscrew to slide it back and forth. Helps whenever you're carrying it around. You can lock it back in place and then carry it around with ease. Come on now, lock down now. There you go. And then the same thing with this feature, as mentioned previously. You just lock it down and you can carry it from place to place with ease without having to worry about it sliding around. And of course you have your bevel gauge back here. It says 0 to 45 degrees. Simply unscrew this. Simply unscrew that, and then you can lean it over to whatever angle you want to. And it only does that to the left. And then you want to tighten that back down. Make sure I got this set. Alright, so the fence slides, as you can see here. These two fences here are welded in place. Alright, so you control your angle, you control your miter angle by looking at this little red needle, and then you got a trigger. Then you have a trigger right up under here. You want to press it, pull that up, and then slide it over to whatever angle you desire to make your cut. Again, this slides left and right. Set that back to 0. And then let go of the trigger and it's locked in place. Another cool feature. These two ends here slide out decently far. Of course, if you're cutting longer stock, it's pretty well unhelpful for you. But, and then this one also does the same. These have little trigger clamps, is what I call them. Which basically you pinch down on both ends and it expands like a little ring, which will contract if you let go of it. And I've got this one extended all the way out. This one here is not extended all the way out. I'd have to flip the miter saw over in order to extend them completely out. For my particular purposes, these don't usually help because they're not long enough. I tend to cut longer stock. So, all right, and then also, if you are cutting shorter stock, like say cabinet doors or something like that, where you're cutting the stile or the rail, these features here will come in handy to you. These are stops. I don't know of many miter saws that have these. So you can set that up at whatever distance you want from the blade, previously measured, of course. You can continuously over and over again cut the same length. Also, this miter saw has a laser. The laser is a good guide for the cut. My particular laser is dead because the battery's dead, because I left it on by accident. But anyway, it worked well before the battery went dead, so you have that, I guess. This particular miter saw, I just bought it because I have a lot of WEN tools, and I figured that this particular WEN tool would mount to a stand that I purchased with a WEN tool, which it will. I just don't usually use it on that because I'm cutting longer stock, so it becomes a pain to try to hold everything up, at a distance. So what I typically do is cut on the floor and put a couple blocks on either side, just to kind of support my board while I'm cutting it. So I will show you how to cut one. I have a board already lined up to be cut. I just got to bring it over here. So again, I like to shim up my boards, to kind of make them nice and flat on the saw. So I just take 2 pieces of stock or so and put under here, try to get it as level as possible. Looks like I'll need a third one. Looks pretty good. I could probably mess with that. For all intents and purposes, I'm cutting off the ends of the boards to minimize any checking or anything showing up in the finished work. I mean, it looks to the eyeball, looks like this one's okay, but I can tell it's not a flush cut. It looks a little bit rounded actually. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the end of this one. Show you how it works. So of course, as always, I want to make sure that it's lined up flush with the fence all the way across. Make sure it's tight to the work surface. Make sure it's tight to the work surface. And then I'm going to cut this. So first off, I'm going to loosen up my slider, which I, tightened down whenever I was moving. And go ahead and cut this. This is a 10 1/4 inch board. That was on speed number 2. So everything was set up at 0 degrees. We know we have a flush face at 90 degrees with the edge. So now what I'm going to do, is I'm going to take and slide this board over. This particular piece here we already ran through the planer and jointed one side, run through the planer. And now what we're going to do, considering this board was a kind of a dud, I guess you could say, we were only able to get 5 feet out of this one because we were trying to get 3/4 of an inch. But whenever we jointed the one side, you know, we took off like probably pretty close to a ½ inch really on that one side because it was all warpy and everything. So whenever we flipped it over and ran it through the planer, it ended up we got down to 3/4 of an inch, and there was still some rough showing, so we had to quit there, considering that's what our material size is, our material thickness is. So we're going to go ahead and take and put this through. So I guess we'll just go ahead and start here, because we got a bad edge over here. And the rough starts just right here, so you know we're not losing but a couple more inches. So we're going to go ahead and cut it starting right here. I may have to slide my miter saw this way a little bit. It's easier to slide the miter saw than it is to slide that planer. And of course this does not have to be very accurate for our intents and purposes. The only thing we have to do is cut a straight line right here. That way we get at least a partial good board. So I'm going to take and hold this side down. For the purposes of this video, I'm going to show you how it cuts on speed number 2, which is 2000 RPMs, the slowest setting. So I mean, it still cuts, but that particular setting is meant more for, you know, wood nails in it. So we got nice clean edges, no burn marks or anything. No burn marks. And I've had this miter saw for nearly a year now, and I've used it pretty frequently. I'd say it's probably had, you know, I'd say it's probably had about 150, 200 boards ran through it before this video. So. Not all of them are this size, of course. You know, most of them are like, you know, 3-4 inches or so. But the blade's still holding up strong. This particular miter saw is definitely worth the money, I believe. It definitely helps me out, and I like it because it looks mean. So, I mean, look, it has the teeth, man. That sold me. So, but I'm not a seller of WEN products, but you know, I have. You know, started going with WEN simply because they're a cheaper brand. You know, I don't have a whole lot of money, but you know, cheaper brands is always good. I mean, especially if they work good. You know, I have the mindset of, you know, you're buying the name, and DeWalt tools and that kind of thing. I don't go for it because it's just too pricey, and I don't really think I'm buying the name more than, you know, a better tool. So, but that's just, you know, my particular reasoning. I could be wrong. You know, I have used DeWalt tools before, and I have had issues with DeWalt tools. I had a 18-volt power drill here not long ago, and the chuck locked up on me, and I can't get it to unlock or anything. So, that's, you know, it's a simple issue, and you know, a little lube might fix that. But and then I also had a Sawzall where the batteries completely blew up on me. You know, it didn't like blow up as kaboom, but you know, it started sizzling and things, and I had to throw them out the door. So You know, I just don't have good luck with DeWalt tools. So far, WEN tools have been great for me, you know, and they're cheap, so, you know, I'm always going for it. And so far, they haven't let me down. But anyway, I'll put a link in the description of where you can buy that miter saw. I mean, like I said, it's a great tool. You know, if you guys want to purchase it, you can purchase it through that link. It's going to be a direct link to the website to purchase the WEN tools. I don't get paid for advertising through WEN, but you know, just helps you guys out on getting it. And I like to post review videos, so you know. Thank you guys for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and share if you'd like to. Stay tuned for more videos to my channel.